Hello there, my friends. This is your video entitled Mrs. Baum Measures All of the Things. So I'm going to be doing some measuring that you and your group are going to use to kind of help you get an idea of what the formula is for circumference of a circle. So before I forget, because you know I like to forget things, when you are talking about circumference, when you are given, so you guys know circumference is the outside edge of your circle. And as you are watching your video in Educanon, your diagram is going to have you draw something like this. Don't do it yet, but just know you're going to draw something like this. So circumference is kind of like the perimeter of the circle. It's the outside edge. You will be getting a formula that your group will hopefully come up with together. But if not, you'll get it. Do you like that that I'm still talking with my hands, even though you guys aren't in front of me? It's crazy. Anyway, like my manicure, it's nice. So you are going to be getting a formula. Either you're going to come up with it or you're going to see it in the video. So remember when we talked about volume, how in our volume formula, since it was volume, it was V equals. Well, in this case, it's going to be circumference, so C equals. And you're going to do whatever it is that you come up with, that you figure out, and then you're going to end up with the circumference. And I want you to think about the fact that circumference is a line that goes around. It's not two-dimensional. It's not area. It's the outside edge. So whatever answer you get, you don't square the inches because it's a straight line. You don't cube them because it's not three-dimensional. It's literally just whatever the unit is, so inches or centimeters without the little squared thing. Kind of crazy, I know. So the other thing that you're going to need to watch for is this. When you are given, when it's time for you to work independently, some of your problems that you get are going to give you the radius, and some of the problems that you get are going to give you the diameter. So as you're applying the formula that you come up with, make sure you're paying attention to whether or not you're being given the radius or the diameter in using it in your formula. And you guys know, because we talked about this, I think we talked about this on Pi Day. Did I read you guys the circumference story? Anyway, the radius is 1/2 of the diameter. So radius equals half of a diameter, or a diameter equals 2 radii. Because if you look, here's a radius, a diameter is 2 radius. Anyway, flip your paper over, and as I record things, you guys are going to be doing the measuring. So first thing that we're going to measure is the hot chocolate mug. Take the pens out here. So I'm going to measure in centimeters. And it's kind of tough because it's, tough to measure it exactly. But the measurement that we get for the circumference, try to be as exact as I can for you guys. Okay, so right there. So the measurement we get for the circumference is like 51.5 centimeters, 51.5 centimeters. So make sure you're writing that down. And then the diameter, so I'm going right across the middle of the circle. So the measurement for the diameter is 16.5 centimeters. So get that written down. And then I will move on to my next item. So the next item is the dice container. So the circumference of the dice container lid is 26 centimeters. And the diameter is 8 centimeters. So as I'm measuring these, I want you guys to look and see if there's any connection that you can find between the diameter and the circumference. So like 8 and 26 and 16.5 and 51.5. So that's what you're looking for here. There is a connection, and it's up to you guys to try and find it. Okay, so now the bucket. Okay, so I think I'm actually going to do the bottom of the bucket because that might be easier. All right, so bottom of the bucket. All right, 42 centimeters for the circumference. And I hope you can all see the gross stuff that just came out of that bucket. That's kind of disgusting. All right, and then I'm going to make sure I go across that middle. And that looks like it is 13. Maybe like 13.2, because it looked a little bit over 13. All right. The next thing that we're going to be measuring is the bowl. So here's our bowl. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make this happen, but I will do my very best. If only I had another pair of hands, guys. I'm sure you're all laughing at me right now. Yeah, I give up. Okay, so we know this is not going to be super duper exact, but we're going to do our best with it. So that looks like it's about 33. And then the diameter is 10. And last but certainly not least, your favorite school supply, duct tape. So 28 centimeters. And then going across, it is 8.5 centimeters. So what I want you to do now is pause your video and talk in your group for a couple of minutes about question 2 and 3. Do you see any sort of connection between the diameter and the circumference? And then what do you think the formula might be? So let's set this up right here. Circumference equals. All right, so go ahead and pause this and come back when you're ready for the next part. Okay, welcome back. So what I wanted you to see is that hopefully you saw it right here. I think this is probably, these two are probably the easiest ones to see it. Your circumference is like 3 times your diameter and a little bit more. So if you were to divide all of these guys, 16.5 divided by 51.5, your diameter, your circumference divided by your diameter. Sorry, I lost my mind for a minute. Divided by 16.5, that gives you 3.12. If you did your 26 divided by your 8, that gives you 3.25. If you did your 42 divided by 13.2, that gives you 3.18. I'm hoping as you're seeing these, you're thinking about a number that we know that's like 3 and a little bit more. And if you're not sure what that number is, look directly above the area where my computer desk is, where I stand when I'm teaching. And hopefully at this point you're like, oh yeah. So you know that my measurements were a little bit off because measuring with your hands is not super duper exact. However, what you should see here is that if you divide your diameter, your circumference by your diameter, you get about 3 and a little bit. And 3 and a little bit is the approximation for pi, which is 3.14. So our formula for circumference is pi times the diameter, or if we're given the radius, we talked on the other side about how a diameter is 2 radiuses. So if we're trying to find our circumference and we're given the radius, it is 2 times pi times the radius. So at this point, you're going to switch over and watch the video in EduCanon. Good luck.